Welcome back to the Kiwi Wedding Podcast. My name is Lydia. I am your host and a wedding photographer at lydiarachel.com. On today's episode, I have a lovely chat with Emma. Emma recently got married at Mantells Mt Eden in Auckland. We chatted through her whole love story, planning process, and how the day went. You can pop over to Instagram to see a few of her photos. This one was also photographed by Ruby, who did last week's wedding. Just have two in a row. Ruby, I promise I'm not stalking your clients, but that is just how the schedule has fallen. And yeah, Ruby has gorgeous work. You can check her out at Lovers by Ruby Jane on Instagram. And as always, you can find all the vendor credits in the show notes and on Instagram as well. Let's get right into it. Enjoy episode 79 with Emma. Thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today. So excited to chat all about your wedding.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm so excited.
So to get started with, if you could tell me a bit about you and your husband, how you guys met, and your life together.
My name's Emma. I work in procurement. My husband's name is Connor and he works in digital media and advertising. We live in Auckland. We live a pretty cruisy life.
Nice. And how did you guys meet?
We met through mutual friends about 6 years ago, just at a house party. We were friends for a while before we started dating, and then we've been inseparable ever since.
So good. So you were together for a while and then got engaged. Can you tell us a bit about your proposal story?
Yeah, we got engaged in August of 2023. We had a Hawaii trip booked together, and I kind of thought that he would propose then. We've chosen the ring. I knew it was coming, but I'd also told him that celebrating with our families was really important to me. So it was a Friday night and we were flying out on a Saturday night, and we had made dinner together. Like, it was just a cozy night at home. I was really relaxed. He was really relaxed, and he was like, "Oh, why don't you go have a shower? Like, put your comfy clothes on." And so I went upstairs and had a shower, and I came downstairs and he had lit some candles and turned all the lights off, and he was playing some nice music, and I didn't really think anything of it, but I was like, "Oh, this is nice. Like, this is relaxing. We're in holiday mode." And then he was like, "I'm just going to go to the toilet." And I was like, "Okay, that's a bit weird." And then he went into the bathroom and we came out with this big bouquet of roses. And on the card it said, "My future wife, will you marry me?" And then he got down on one knee and proposed. And yeah, it was so lovely. It still took me by surprise, even though I knew it was coming and we'd chosen the ring together. And then he had organised for our families to come over for a surprise lunch on Saturday. So we could all celebrate together, and yeah, it was really lovely. It was really low key, just a really lovely intimate moment.
Sounds so special. Nice to just have that moment, the two of you at home, and really romantic. So
Yeah.
had you been one of those girls that dreamed about your wedding? Did you know what you wanted, have like a certain vision in mind? And what were those kind of first steps, looking for a venue, all of that?
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely a massive romantic, so I knew, like, I wanted to get married, and I love that tradition and that idea. I sort of had my heart set on the glass house when we initially got engaged and started talking about planning for the wedding. But my husband's good friend got married at Mantells in Mount Eden, and looking at their photos, it just looked really beautiful, and it had never been a venue that stood out to me that much. So we didn't end up viewing the glass house, just purely because the cost of it was quite a lot higher, and you have to bring in a lot of your own things, which I didn't really want to do. I just wanted something really easy and stress free. So we looked at Mantel's and we loved it. It's such a beautiful venue. It's easy for people to get to. Like I said, you don't need to bring anything in. So yeah, we didn't look at any other venues. Mantel's was it, and we were just locked in.
Oh, so good. It's such a special spot. In Mount Eden in Auckland. If people don't know already, it's kind of tucked behind the shops in the village, but it feels like you're in Europe somewhere, or just really beautiful setting. Your photos looked gorgeous too. Did you have sort of your top priorities for the day? What were the most important elements for you?
Yeah, photographer was definitely number one. We wanted someone who would capture us really well, and we didn't want anything to feel too like staged or posed or anything like that. So photographer was definitely number one. And then food and drinks, I would say, were 2 and 3. Yeah, I think we just wanted everything to feel really cohesive, and Mantells made that really easy because the food is so good and people really rave about the food. And then the drinks as well, like we just had to bring in our own wine and bubbles, so it was really easy.
And can you tell me a bit about your wedding outfits, your dress? How was that whole process, finding it, getting it made? Yeah.
Yeah, so I had 2 dresses. My first dress was from Hera Couture. That was the first shop that I went to. I kind of found the trying on process quite strange. Like, it's, as a female, it's new or something that I thought about for like my whole life leading up to this moment. You know, it's this really big thing. You always see it in movies and on TV shows. So I kind of had like so much anticipation and so much emotion about trying them on. And it wasn't like deflating, but it just was just like putting on another dress. Like, it just kind of felt like, oh, this isn't this massive, amazing. Like, I didn't cry, I didn't feel like super emotional. It was just kind of like another day, which was sounds really weird. So I shopped around a little bit, but I keep thinking about this one dress at Hera that I tried on that I really loved, and I felt really comfortable in it, and I felt really myself in it. So I went back there and retried it. And I did love it, and I felt really beautiful, and I think that was sort of the main thing. And then as they fit it to me and I tried it on again, I just fell more and more in love with it, which was great. I really loved my dress. But it had quite a lot of fabric, so I just wanted another dress that I could dance in the evening, and I didn't want to bustle it up because I knew I'd still be uncomfortable. Because it was straight across my arms, like I couldn't lift my shoulders up, so I wouldn't have been able to like do a first dance well enough. So I ended up finding a really beautiful secondhand dress from Designer Wardrobe. I think it's an American designer, but the girl that I purchased it off purchased it for her wedding, but she never ended up wearing it. So it was brand new, but it was such a good price, and it was sort of like a slip dress. And again, I just felt really myself and really beautiful and really comfortable in it.
Nice, so good. That's a great recommendation for people to look at as well. And yeah, often it is like new stuff or only worn once. So yeah, love that. Did you shop for your bridesmaids' dresses as well, or what was that like?
Yeah, so I had 2 bridesmaids. I just had my twin sister and then a good friend, and they both wore chocolate brown. But I wanted them to be in different dresses because they're their own people and they have different bodies, and I just wanted them both to feel comfortable. So I ordered my good friend's dress from Charcoal. It's an Australian online boutique. And they had like free returns and stuff, so I wasn't too worried if it wasn't quite right, but it fit her really well. It's a really beautiful, like deep chocolate color. And then my sister's dress we got from a New Zealand designer, which is Dominique Healy, and it was more like a milk chocolate sort of satiny dress. And I think the colors complemented the venue really well, especially because it was in a summer wedding, so everything looked really nice together.
Yeah, beautiful. I love brown. Looks so good. That was going to be my next question about your bridal party. Did you have two each side, and how was that process choosing them? Was that easy?
Yeah, it was easy. We both could have gone like maybe one or two more people, but we just didn't want it to feel really crowded when we're standing up at the aisle. And it's also, 2 extra dresses and 2 extra suits to buy. So we just wanted to keep the costs down. We wanted to keep everything really easy and fun. And we had some good friends as our witnesses, which was really special as well. And I think that really contributed to the morning of the wedding for me feeling really stress free because there was not that many of us getting ready, and we didn't have to start really early. Like, it was just really relaxed. And I still had a friend come and sit with me in the morning that wasn't a bridesmaid, but she just like hung out and come for some food and a coffee, and that was still really lovely. But we didn't feel the pressure to be like rushed, and there was like not one after the other in the makeup chair. Like, it was just a really nice, easy morning because there was so few of us.
Great advice, good for people to consider. And yeah, you can include other people in different parts of the day, but yeah, the more and more you add to that morning, definitely gets a bit more chaotic. And how about your guest list? I know you can only have a limited amount at Mantells, but yeah, how was that process narrowing it down? Did you find that tricky?
The guest list process we found pretty okay. Mantells, you can only have 70 people in the main dining area. So we had 65 people dining with us. And we always knew from the start that we wanted to have a really small and intimate wedding because we wanted to feel like we could talk to everyone, and we didn't want it to feel like overwhelming. We didn't want to feel like we were just inviting people for the sake of it. So there were definitely people that we maybe could have invited, but we feel really happy with the number that we landed on. And it was so nice to have like our really core group of friends and family that we have known for a really long time and have known us for a really long time. So I definitely think it's easy to blow the guest list out of proportion because you feel like you have to. But we were just really set that no, this is actually about us. You know, this is what we want, and we stuck firm to that.
That's such a nice number, and like you say, kind of can chat to everyone, have that quality time. And I think sometimes it is helpful when your venue has those parameters as well, and then you're not going to blow it because you actually can't. And hopefully people understand that too. But can you tell us a bit about the big day? How did it all go down, and any highlights or favorite moments?
We were so lucky. We had a beautiful spring day in Auckland. It wasn't too hot, wasn't too cold. I feel really, really fortunate to say that actually nothing went wrong. We we really had nothing go wrong. Like it was just a perfect day, and I think that really contributed by having really good vendors. So we knew that we had vendors we could trust. We had an amazing coordinator. She's Jules from Dream Events Wedding Planning. She is incredible. I would recommend anyone, that's the one thing that you're not sure about, a coordinator, you definitely need them because otherwise that falls on a photographer or other people. And I just think she took the stress out of the day so much. So definitely having a coordinator made me feel so at ease and made Connor feel so at ease. And we had so much fun. I think my favorite moment was we walked back down the aisle and we went into like a little side room and we just had a private moment together. Our photographer Ruby was there just to take a few snaps, but she just let us like sit and chat and catch up, and it was so nice to kind of debrief because we hadn't seen each other all morning, and it was just kind of taking everything in, and that was really special. And then we went back out and we greeted our guests and we sort of mingled before we went and had our photos. And I think it was really nice just to have that small window together because the day just goes so fast. Like before we knew it, we were sitting down at dinner and the speeches were over and we're doing our first dance and then we're in on the dance floor. So yeah, I definitely recommend just taking like small moments throughout the day. Yeah, it was just so much fun and just have fun, like it doesn't need to be a stressful thing. If something is to go wrong, no one else will know except you. So yeah.
I love that you were intentional building in that time because a lot of times you don't actually get like a moment alone all day. Yeah, if you can kind of build that in and just after the ceremony, that's a great spot to do it. So love that. So good that nothing went wrong. Was there anything that you found hard about the whole wedding planning process or anything you look back on and regret or would do a bit differently?
The only thing I found hard was really focusing on what we wanted. So I think like as soon as we got engaged, we started planning the wedding. So we had about 14 months to plan the wedding, booked the venue pretty quickly. But I think initially when we got engaged, I had such a different idea of what I actually wanted because I was looking at what other people were doing, and then that's what I thought I would have to do. Like, I thought I had to have a wedding sign or had to have all of these different things because other people had done them. But there were certain things like a wedding sign that we actually didn't have because we both thought it's kind of a waste of money and we were trying to keep the budget as tight as we could. And the venue, like you can look it up on Google Maps, or there'll always be people walking through, people can find their way there. So there were kind of certain things that it was like, oh, this is actually about us. This is actually about what we want and um, us as a couple. So yeah, I think it's really easy to get caught up in like wedding trends and what you should do and what is currently all over Pinterest or all over like social media. So I think that is probably what I found the hardest. But the planning process, because our venue was so seamless. Like there wasn't really much for us to plan. They had all of the cutlery, all of the glassware, the tableware was all done, the food was all done. It was just the stationery and the other bits and pieces. So yeah, we were pretty lucky. There wasn't too much to do.
So good, so helpful just having everything there and then having a coordinator as well that can just help everything run on the day and you sort of let go of that control and just enjoy it. That's definitely a key vendor that comes up again and again. Such a real thing, just being overwhelmed with all the content and social media and even comparison to people online, or yeah, it can be quite overwhelming. The algorithm definitely knows when you're engaged, but that's great advice. I think just taking it back to, this is about us, what represents us as a couple. Did you guys have a set budget? If you're happy to talk about what that was and how you found that whole process, yeah, planning and how that all went.
Yeah, we did have a set budget of about 40 grand, and we did go above that budget. So I think we ended up on around 47 or 49 grand in the end, which, yeah, is a lot of money. And we were really like fortunate that we're in the position that we could do that ourselves. My mum paid for my dress, which was so lovely, and she also paid for the bubbles on the day. So all of the bubbles that people were drinking, which was so nice. But yeah, we really wanted to do everything ourselves because we're in our late 20s, and it is about us and it is our day, and we knew that we could do it. So that's why we sort of keep things in a tight constraint, because we were paying for them and it is kind of one day. And I think, again, the whole wedding industry can be so, there are so many different things that you could have on your day, like a sign, initials on your napkins, his and hers cocktails. Like, there is just so many things that initially I thought, oh, we will definitely have them. And then when you look into that, you're like, whoa, this is crazy money. It costs so much money. What, 8 hours, 6 hours? So I think it was definitely a reminder just to take a breath and keep things simple. And we did keep things really simple, but that's what I loved about our wedding, is that it was simple and classic and elegant, and there just wasn't a whole lot of random bits and bobs that just made the price skyrocket. Like, we just kept it true to us and we kept it really simple. And yeah, it's definitely easy to look at these really big grand weddings and think that that's what you want or that's what you should have. But if it's not achievable, I think, you can get married, just the two of you, anywhere. You can elope. We just need to remember that the main thing is that your marriage is going to be better than your wedding.
I love that advice. So good. I think yeah, simple is like timeless and beautiful, and yeah, your wedding definitely looks like that. And I think definitely a massive part of it obviously is your choice of venue, and yeah, Mantells kind of speaks for itself without too much decoration or anything needed. So yeah, thinking about that from the start. And there's so many things that are like fun and beautiful but often unnecessary and expensive as well. So did you guys go on honeymoon straight away, and what did planning that look like?
Yeah, we just took 5 days off to go to the Taranaki. So we got married the weekend before long weekend. Um, we timed it quite well, so we ended up having like another day off work, which was nice. But yeah, we drove to the Taranaki, and we stayed at a beautiful Airbnb called The Nest, which is like half an hour out of New Plymouth. It's really beautiful. It's this coastal Airbnb that overlooks a really beautiful cliff. Like, you can walk down to the beach. It was just really relaxing and very idyllic. And then we have booked to go to Japan later this year for like a big overseas honeymoon. But yeah, we just wanted something easy around New Zealand that we could just sort of pop to and just have that quality time. Yeah, it was really nice.
Sounds like such a beautiful spot. Nice to do something local and then have the overseas thing later to look forward to. I feel like Japan's really popular. I keep hearing people going on their honeymoon there, which is so cool. And did you have any sort of helpful websites, apps, different resources that you used during the planning process?
Not necessarily. I feel like there is so much out there. So I do feel like I got quite overwhelmed. Like, every single tip I'd see would be a bride being like, 10 things I did wrong on my wedding day, or like, and I just think at one point it was like, this is a bit much. But I did really love, I followed our photographer for a long time, and I loved looking at her for inspiration. So seeing like what her couples did and how she shot them, and like the sort of vibe that people gave on the day was really good for me. I found that the best thing to kind of see like how people were photographed on their wedding day, because yeah, like I said, it can get really overwhelming. Yeah, I think it's good to just sort of stick with what you know. I did have a Pinterest board, of course, with like all my main components on there. And then once I found my dress, I sort of just stopped looking at dresses, because that again was so overwhelming. And there's always some new beautiful gown out there that you're like, oh, maybe I should have chose that, or maybe I should have tried something else. But yeah, I think it's just remembering to come back to what you feel good in, not what someone else looks good in.
Yeah, exactly. It's hard to have that self-control sometimes, but depending how long your engagement is too, just like once you've made those decisions, stop looking, because you could just change your mind like every week or start doubting them. So that's great advice. And yeah, you've given a lot of amazing advice, but is there anything else that you would say to a friend that's engaged at the moment, or yeah, couples planning their wedding right now?
Yeah, I would just say try and keep things as stress free on the day as possible. So definitely look at your venue. Like with Mantells, like I've said, we didn't need to bring any extra things in unless we wanted to for styling reasons. So that contributed so much later down the line. Like there was just way less for us to stress about, less room for error as well. And vendors as well. Make sure that you really connect with your vendors, and if you feel like something's not right, definitely change them, because it's about you, not them. And hands down, if you don't have a coordinator, get one. There's so many good ones out there, but Jules from Dream Wedding Events, she is incredible. I highly, highly recommend her. So big advice is get a coordinator for sure.
That is such a good one, definitely. And what is married life like now? Do you feel like you got any of the post-wedding blues?
Kind of, but not really. I think because we got married close to Christmas, that we still had quite a lot to look forward to in that year. And it was just really lovely to like sort of continue celebrations. Like we would see our families, in a couple of weeks later, and they'll be like, "Oh, let me see your ring," or see Connor with the ring, and it was really lovely and exciting. Yeah, married life, nothing really changes, but I do kind of feel like we are more connected, and we're definitely a family now. So yeah.
Yeah, I love that. It's always good timing, kind of having it leading up to Christmas and summer and having all that to look forward to and kind of continue the celebrations as well. So so
Mhm.
good. Amazing. It's been so great to chat to you. Is there anything else that you want to add or that we missed as we wrap up?
No, no, I think I'm good. Thanks so much for having me.